Hey, Haley. We're ready for our story.
Ready for a story?
I need to know who's first.
You sit next to Hillary.
So you can be in order.
Yes, I found it, Mom.
Hey, Freeman.
Yeah.
We're ready. The rocking chair.
Hey, Haley.
Hey, Haley, you start the story.
And it can't move after the night. You have to move it a different kind.
But I still have to do once upon a time.
Yes, you do.
Once upon a time lived a little kid. And
Oh, this kid was a boy.
of course all of us know.
You don't have to do very long if you want to just say it to the boy and then it'll be Fred's turn.
This kid
Okay.
was a boy. And when he was,
Speak up.
when he was around 10, he started learning to play the organ.
Unfortunately, the organ broke, and this was way before organs were even invented, so that wouldn't really work. Anyway,
It was like a mouth organ.
oh,
It would have been a water organ.
well, okay, we're water
Like,
organs,
hydraulic.
but
If it was a water organ, you could play water music on it?
anyway, he's not grown up, he's 20. Anyway, he rode out on his horse to raid the enemy farm. Griffin Ford.
And when he was on his way, he fell into a pit and couldn't climb out. So he started digging a tunnel. He came up and he found out he was underneath a pond in the...
That would be horrible. Splash. Well, at least he's got the tunnel
Push him
behind
back
him.
up the hole, wouldn't it?
Anyway,
Enough water in the
Well, if he's got a good hole in the
You
water
didn't
that's
say he
good.
went into the pond, you just said he was under it.
Oh.
he came up from the pond,
Yeah, in the pond.
and the pond happened to be the place where he was going to go raiding, but it didn't work. But it didn't work because his sword was all rusty now.
That was quick.
But that was okay because he found out that the war was over and they were friends now. So he went and had dinner with them. And they said, "What is your name?"
And he... Father, why did I have to have a name? What?
And we're like, "Oh,
I said,
Oh. No, it has to be a Greek
I didn't
name.
say
If he's
Rufus.
gonna play the water organ. How they were Greek.
name's Hannah's job."
His name was Exalander. And the farmer's name was John, and his wife's name was
the what?
and they had a
Oh, farmer.
and they had
I
a
think it's
pretty
farmer.
daughter who was only just 16. And
I knew she was gonna do that!
Fred made him grow up. When he grows up, he has to get married.
What if she dies?
Anyway. So her name is Elizabeth. So it's your turn.
One day, Elizabeth decided to court with
No.
Alexander.
Decided to what?
Court.
That question.
Then it was Hillary's turn to do the story.
So she went to where he was staying, which was in his own house, and she had brought him a lovely meat pie and a dog.
Okay, your turn.
Alexander loved dogs, and so he was very happy to get the meat pie. He loved meat pies too. Okay, it's your turn.
And the meat pie, he knew that there would probably be something in the meat pie.
And what
A little tiny giant, this small.
Little tiny giant.
Yes, came out of the meat pie and said, "Hello, here's your meat pie."
Why
It
does
was
he have an
Freeman's
accent?
turn.
He liked her so much, so he went out and bought a new water organ and played it for her. And he found out that her name was really. And he also showed her a time machine which he had made, which he took her to see.
The organ.
No, see, Bob said he took how to water.
Unfortunately, this was about the time that Emperor Theodosius raised about 6 million
men.
people, killed 6 million people because of a feud, and
Raised
decided to replace them with Slavs.
Slavs?
Yes.
Shovels?
Slobs, people that don't work.
Slavs. S-L-A-V.
Haley thinks they're shovels.
No, they're people. They were. Anyway.
Dear farmer people.
Yes, you're right, because the farmer and his wife and daughter were part of the people that were transplanted.
But
So,
are they
But they were
weird?
Yeah.
Don't get too technical. This is for Haley. So Haley can understand it too.
It's funny what
it's history.
No, it's
Keep on going,
not.
Fred. Keep on going.
It's on history.
That's right.
It's because it was
Okay.
once upon a
Now-
time.
That's right. It was so once upon a
About this time, as well, Alexander found out his name was not Alexander.
It wasn't Alexander, it was Exalander.
Okay, Exalander. He was actually the son of a Roman consul. Now,
Counselor.
I said consul. Now, at this
Pretzel.
time, the Romans and Constantinople weren't very friendly.
Because they didn't like their ball.
And then they went.
No.
So then they went and became pirates on the high seas.
Who?
That were bad
Who's that?
people.
The Romans.
And broke their rugby ball and be
And
bad
went
people.
and made friends with the Ottomans and had some more pirates.
The
And
Ottomans
they
are
never
at this
take
time.
Red, it's not your turn, and it's a one.
And then they came to America
Which was not very friendly.
and they discovered that there was a civil war going on.
That wasn't very friendly.
America was always having civil wars because the Indians were unfriendly with each
So
other.
they helped the Confederates. And then when Lincoln was assassinated, they jumped up and down and said, Hosanna.
After that, they decided with all these ottomans that they had, they better get some chairs to go with it. So they went out and they bought 10 chairs.
And so finally they went back home. And because they had too many chairs to put into their house, they
They're
had to
pirates,
give
Hannah.
some of the they converted pirates didn't have houses.
The pirates turned into Anglicans.
No Presbyterians.
Well, anyway, the pirates
They're always
had
fighting.
kidnapped John and Mary and Elizabeth. So anyway, finally, after they bought the chairs, John and Mary and Elizabeth went home. And they didn't have enough room for the chairs in their house. So they had to give some chairs to Exalander. But Exalander, he wasn't fond of chairs.
Exalander's name wasn't actually Exalander. I said
He
that.
remembered that it actually was after all. The pretzel.
Hannah,
Lost the pretzel. Died, and so he decided to change his name back to Exalander because he liked it better after all.
died.
No, not your turn. So anyway, he didn't like the chairs, so he gave them to the church because the church always wanted more chairs.
Then the church decided to go to
But they soon tired of eating sports because it rained too much. So they went back to Africa, where they discovered
Back to Africa? Did they visit while they were pirates?
Africa, and they decided to explore some.
Can't they even do
So they found a hippopotamus farm where
hippopotamus?
there was this little boy who lived there.
Hey, are you listening?
There was a little boy living there who had a little sister whose name was.
Exactly.
No, it's a girl this time.
Sally.
Sally. Okay, like oh God.
And Sally went out of
Remember, she's in a hippopotamus farm in Africa.
and she went out to buy some food, which was turkey, which her husband really liked the most.
She had a husband.
She grew up.
Little girls didn't have brothers. She didn't get married.
Okay, keep going.
And so she bought the turkey. She forgot to put it in the heater. And it was raw when he ate it. This turkey doesn't taste good.
And now, Alexander took found a very cheap ride on the jet plane and went to Germany. And he bought a nice big house there and put a beautiful pipe organ inside it and started learning how to play. And then
Alexander came in.
by the way, his name was
Alexander.
his teacher was Bob.
So we're going back in time again?
Yes, we're good.
His teacher was Bach, but he went to Germany on a jet plane.
And so he had learned all of Bach's work and he composed some stuff himself and he played a lot for the church. And he got married one time to
Tired. He got very tired.
Elizabeth, and Bach played the organ for their wedding.
I thought this was a Christian. What was that?
He was
to
a Christian.
Right, I was thinking my cousin.
You are supposed to stay and they lived happily ever after.
Unfortunately, the rest of that story is lost in the midst of time.
Time is the key word.
So,
Then
we shall now go back to Sally when she was younger.
Now
And her brother's name was Tommy. Tommy and Sally.
No.
Why?
Sally was already married.
No! Hillary's. I said when
It's
she
telling
was
you
in
how
that.
it's telling you that little girl.
Now, one time, now, the reason they were at Hippopotamus Farm was because her daddy sold the hippopotami.
You have to sit up here, you
Not a hippopotami, it's a hippopotamus.
Okay, they get up
It's not an A, it's the.
Remember,
Plural. Anyway, the hippopotami was sold to zoos all over the world.
Did you say you sold to Zeus?
Z-O-S.
To Zeus. Why
He
Zeus?
was talking about the business.
I thought Mars liked him better.
Anyway, her daddy decided they would go on a trip one day when they were transporting the hippopotami to a zoo in northern Germany.
And they took a plane.
So
They
first,
took their rugby ball there.
What?
Wait, rolled across the floor. They had to put it in
So-
They took
It's
their
sports time.
rugby ball.
So when they got there, they deposited the hippopotamus and went to Norway. And decided to live in Norway for a time because there was so much, because they liked the snow that was there, and the fjords and all the territory down there. And then they learned
which one?
southern one.
What do you mean,
Southern
which
Tons
one?
of southern territories.
In Norway?
But to
they're
every
all
Norwegian there is but
territories.
one.
Anyway,
Southern territory.
so they learned to speak the language, and then they then they started a colony from Africa, because they were from Africa. And then they made another language that was they made from Norwegian African, and they stuck it together and
That
made a really
is
cool
weird.
language.
Or
And it had,
African language. They called it Norwegica.
and they had it,
Plays
and
Norwegica.
the letters in the
Or
language
African.
was 692.
People.
But then they got really sad because with so many letters that they didn't want to have to answer all of them. So they decided to do cards, and they just signed all the cards and said, "Thank you for all the letters." And then they went to New Zealand again because they wanted to play cricket
Rugby
again.
and cricket.
They wanted to have a cricket match against the Black Caps to see if the Norwegians could beat the Black Caps.
Hey.
The Norwegian.
Yes.
But of course they couldn't.
So I wanted them too, so that they could teach them a few tricks.
Oh. Well, maybe you can make them win when it's your turn. So anyway,
If Finn doesn't like it, have him half weirded out.
they were roundly beaten.
Roundly beaten?
Yes. Haven't you ever beaten any roundly with a
With a
ball?
cricket ball.
It wouldn't feel very good.
No,
So
rugby was
anyway,
rugby.
they decided that they would stay.
Rugby.
They decided they would
They're
stay
playing
in New
cricket.
Zealand until they could beat the Black Caps. They did not play with them. Anyway, they were going to beat the New Zealanders, and the only thing was they could never find any New Zealanders. They were like, "What are you?" And they were like, "I'm a Kiwi." And they couldn't find anything but Kiwis anywhere. But they had thought that a Kiwi was a type of bird. Obviously, they were mistaken.
Then one day they had a girl who married a man named with the last name of Tucker. Then
What was the man's first name?
it's called
Tim.
Tim Tucker. And he had another. He had a girl, and her name was Holly, and she married a Kiwi named Brian, and had a baby named Simeon,
He's saying this all explicitly.
and another baby, and another baby named Freddie.
Well, you can spell that one with a Y.
Friday.
Or not yours.
Friday.
And Freddie was a girl, so
What do you mean Freddie was a girl?
so that's why they called her Freddie instead of Frederick. Because everyone knows Frederick is a boy's name, but Freddie can be a girl's name.
Because it can be short for Winifred.
Oh yeah, Freddie.
Winifred is a weird
A Freddie girl.
Or Frederica.
Her name was spelled W-Y.
Freddie.
Y.
Freddie May.
Y. Yeah.
Freddie May.
And
Freddie
the way her mama spells Simeon. So she stuck to making
Simeon cook.
in the kitchen and helping take care of her other little brothers and sisters.
Which was Freddie Flynn.
No, Freddie is already in existence, so you have to make up some other kids.
Or you can just make
Or you can.
And Ford Flynn, which
Ford
is
doesn't spell with a Y. Unless you spell it F-Y-O-R-D, then it'd be Fjord.
Fjord.
Well, FJ is Fjord.
Fred went to
Ford.
Holland.
No, don't you mean Ford?
You gotta
You
have
went to
different-
Holland?
Holly.
Sally would work. Sally's
Holland
flying
is where Andre River.
We already have a Sally.
Then Sally.
not in the family.
Then Sally got into an airplane without her husband without knowing it. Drive away in an airplane. Drive the airplane. She went to Africa. She quickly tied her shoes back up. And then she quickly went to Africa again. And then found Simeon and Holly and Freddie at the place. And she said, "What? You can't be here already."
Is that the end of the story?
Yes,
And they all lived happily ever after.
yes.
The end of the